Hello Magic fans, I'm Beef and welcome back to another standard gameplay video, and today we are looking at skeletons. So one of the really interesting things about Bloomburrow, in my opinion, is the fact that obviously all the major creature types that we've seen are lesser supported creature types. Mice, bats, birds, otters, frogs, lizards, cards which have had a smattering of creatures mainly over the last two sets. I mean, clearly because of Bloomburrow, but now we have a huge amount of them, and that means there's not been any, or I think that there's one dragon in Bloomburrow, there might be an angel, but we don't see any traditional creature types: humans, elves, zombies, merfolk, and even other creature types like skeletons. Obviously we've not seen any new ones. So skeletons was a deck that was around in Outlaws of Thunder Junction because it got a few new skeleton cards, and it was mostly rotation proof. You would have Takanuma in here, but obviously now that's not in standard. So I wanted to see how it holds up against the current standard. We only have a couple of new Bloomburrow cards, and they are Patchwork Banner, which I think it works really well in tribal decks. So it's a 3-mana rock, but it says when it enters, choose a creature type. So we were going to choose skeleton. Creatures you control the chosen target get +1/+1. So buffing your entire board is pretty powerful. And then 2 copies of Fountain Port, just because we have a few skeleton tokens that we can use to draw a card. And in the case of a stashed skeleton, we actually want to get rid of our suspected skeleton, so we can even use it to do that, or maybe use it if our skeleton gets targeted with removal. But we can also, create some tokens and some treasures. I did have one copy of 3 Tree City in here, which was basically the tribal Nykthos. When it ETBs, you choose a creature type, it taps colourless, or you can pay 2 to tap it to add X of any colour, where X is the amount of creatures you have of that creature type. I took it out. We were running 23 lands. This is an incredibly low curve deck, and I flooded out quite a few times, so I've gone down to 22 lands. And also, I don't think I ever actually had more than 3 skeletons on the battlefield at once. So in reality, it is when you only have 3, it's mana neutral. You need 4 or more of a creature type, and in standard that's kind of hard to do. So I did take it out, so we've gone down 1 land. We're only at 22 lands, which should be enough, especially with 4 mana rocks. Anyway, let's quickly go through the rest of the deck. So skeletons, we have Cult Conscript, a 1-mana 2/1, enters tapped. You can pay 2 to return it to from the graveyard to the battlefield, but activate only if a non-skeleton creature died under your control this turn. We don't have any non-skeleton creatures apart from Gisa, the zombies she controls, and the fish from Fountain Port. So it does trigger sometimes. What's interesting is this is not cast or play. You can return it. So if you can do it on opponent's turn if you meet those criteria. Forsaken Mana, 1-mana 2/2, can't block, but whenever you commit a crime, you may pay a black if you do return Forsaken Mana from your graveyard to the battlefield. Again, doesn't have to be in your turn. A crime, if you don't know, is an umbrella term from Outlaws of Thunder Junction. You commit a crime when you target an opponent, anything they control, or cards in their graveyard. And we have a few cards that do that. Then we have Tinybones, the Pickpocket, a 1-mana 1/1 Death Touch. And it says, when Tinybones deals combat damage to a player, you may cast target non-land permanent card from that player's graveyard, and mana of any type can be spent to cast a spell. So there's a bit of value, but also, importantly, that is a crime. So this will trigger Forsaken Mana. Elsewhere in the 1-drops, we have 4 copies of Cut Down, a removal spell, but again, triggers it counts as a crime. And Tinybones joins up, a 1-mana enchantment. When ETBs, any number of target players each discard a card. That is a crime. But then whenever a legendary creature you control enters, any number of target players each mill a card and is loser at life. That is also a crime. In the 2-drops, Case of a Stashed Skeleton. Spoke about this earlier. When it ETBs, we create a 2/1 black skeleton creature token and suspect it. Suspect is a mechanic from Murders of Card of Mana. Basically, as it says, a suspected creature has menace and can't be blocked. So menace means it can't be blocked unless by 2 or more creatures. But because it can't block, it can be hard to remove that skeleton. But we might want to do it because to solve this case, we have to have no suspected skeletons. And then once it is solved, we can pay 2 basically to chew up any card, put it into our hand and shuffle. Only at sorcery speed, which is kind of annoying, but still really, really powerful. So sometimes we want to lose that Suspected Skeleton. 2 copies of Go for Throat just for removal. And then Corpses of the Lost is probably the real powerhouse of a deck. A 3 mana enchantment. Skeletons you control get +1/+0 and have haste. This is really powerful because it buffs pretty much every creature we have. But when it ETBs, you create a 2/2 Black Skeleton Pirate creature token. That'll be a 3/2 with haste when Corpses of the Lost. But then it has, at the beginning of your end step, if you descended this turn, you may pay 1 life. If you do, return corpses to your hand. Descended means if a permanent card is put into your graveyard from anywhere, it is important that it says permanent card. While tokens do count as permanents, they do not count as cards. So if your opponent removes one of your tokens, you do not descend. But if they kill one of your creatures, or if you have to discard, or you sack a demolition field, that counts as descending, meaning we get this back into a hand. Next turn, we can play it again, get another 2/2 skeleton, which will be a 3/2. So this is really, really powerful. And then the top end of the curve at 5 mana, Gisa the Hellraiser, not a skeleton, but a Skeleton Lord. A 5 mana 4/4 has ward 2, pay 2 life. So that's quite a powerful ward, causing our opponents to pay more and pay 2 life. But it says skeletons, zombies you control get +1/+1 and have menace. So it buffs our entire board, but also makes our creatures hard to block. It says whenever you commit a crime, create 2 tapped 2/2 blue and black zombie rogue creature tokens. This ability triggers only once each turn. And because of her buff, they're going to be 3/3s with menace, so that is incredibly powerful. And ideally, what's really good is, we have Tinybones joins up, we play Gisa because we played a legendary creature, we get that crime straight away. We get the 2 zombies, and then maybe on opponent's turn we cut down something or go for the throat something. We get a trigger on their turn, and back at our turn, we now have 4 3/3 zombies with menace, as well as the rest of our board, which also have a buff and menace. Mana base, as I said, we only have 22 land, 16 swamp, 3 Cavern of Souls, just against blue decks, 2 Fountain Ports, and Demolition Field to take out opposing Mirexes or Cavern of Souls, Cavern of Souls I don't really care about, or Fountain Ports. And also it is a way to trigger descending to get our Corpses of the Lost back. So that's the deck. No wrap up. I said it is quite a powerful aggro deck. It struggles like all aggro decks does. If you're up against removal, you're going to have a bad time playing 81 drops, having them removed. If they play a sweeper, especially temporary lockdown hits pretty much everything apart from Corpses of the Lost and Gisa and that Patchwork Banner. And if you're on the draw against the mono red or Rakdos aggro/fling deck, again, you're going to struggle, but all decks struggle against that, so that's not unusual. But it is quite a fun, different aggro deck. It is also a bit reliant on Corpses of the Lost and Gisa. Having our 1-drop skeletons do have 2 power, but obviously they have weaknesses coming into play tap, so can't block that turn, and Forsaken Miner can't block at all. But getting in for 2, or 1 with Tinybones, or 2 with the cash, adds up over time, but it's not particularly quick. If you can go Cult Conscript into Cage of a Staff Skeleton into Corpses of the Lost, suddenly you're hitting for 9 on turn 3. That really helps. And if you get Gisa down, that's where it really powers up. So these cards are important. When you don't get them, it can feel bad. Maybe then you could go down 1 Patchwork Banner and up 1 Gisa, just to make sure increase the chances of drawing Gisa. But yeah, it's a powerful deck. It still holds up. It was, it's not top tier, but it is fun and a bit different. As I said, it is fun playing a different kind of aggro deck. So I really enjoyed it. Hope you all do too. If you do, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the gameplay. We are on the draw, but we have a pretty good hand. Do they cut down straight away? So I'm guessing they're oops all removal then, seeing as they're playing a rather unusual removal card. There was a stick without any creatures on the battlefield, so... They must have more removal. That wasn't the right choice, really. So if we draw a land next turn, we can get down the banner and the corpses. But that is not a land. Well, let's... Tinybones joins up. Get them to discard their last card. Well, one of their last cards, sorry. Obviously, they can blast zone to kill a few things. So they can create a fish with fountain pool. They can blow up our 1-drops with the blast zone. There's the land. So let's patchwork banner. And we'll name skeleton, obviously. Get down other corpses. They've got a blast zone unless they've got removal. That disfigure won't do it, but did they? Oh yeah, they were at 8. I thought, did they? They couldn't discard a card. Did they pay 3 life? But I thought they were at 5 already. Alright, we're on the play. Okay, hand. We need another land for Corpses of the Lost. But we can get down Cult Conscript. And then have some removal. Oh, let's get down another Cult Conscript. There's the land. Play this on skeleton. Well, we can just play out our other corpses. We'll bring it back to our hand. And we'll play it out again. That is not enough. So a very, very quick game. Really showcase the power of corpses of a loss there. On the play, don't have a turn 1 play, but we can turn to case. And obviously we do have cut down. Need another land for corpses. And or patchwork banner. There's the third land. I'll play out corpses, hit them for 6. Next turn we can get down patchwork banner, hold up, cut down, and return after that Gisa. They've got Vaultborn Tyrant, but we've not seen any green mana. Might be on some kind of reanimator deck. Let's play out Patchwork Banner, because it does allow us to play Gisa next turn. We could have played another Corpses of the Lost. Let's put it on Skeleton. Oh, let's play out Gisa then. They're down to 5. And next turn we can Corpses to create another skeleton. Now I imagine you know what? I will happily lose 4 life. So we could swing in for more than lethal. We had 16 points on the board. They could only stop 6 of it, so we would have hit him for 10. On the draw, but we have a lot of removal. We do need a third land though. Get down the miner. There's the third land. Deep Cavern Bat. We'll hold up, cut down, see what they do. Next turn we can play out the corpses. We'll take the 3. We'll take out their Maverick. So we'll play out corpses, hit him for 6. Next turn we can patchwork banner and hold up, cut down. Ah, they're an Insidious Roots deck. Obviously that does move the Reaper out of range of our cut down, but that's not the end of the world. What I'm going to do is hold up, cut down for Gisa. Because next time we can play Gisa and cut down. To create the zombies. They can't really afford to attack. They are. Unfortunately for them, Gisa also gives creatures skeletons menace. Let's just take out their mana producer. But again, that's not going to do it because our creatures have menace. On the play, I hope we're up against removal, up against aggro deck. Only having one black mana that can cast non-creature spells as well is going to be an issue. Name that on skeleton. Next turn we can play the Forsaken Miner and hold up, cut down. I'll swing with a skeleton because obviously it gets killed. We can sacrifice our case. And I'll just keep up go for the throat for the inevitable... I'll say the inevitable Knight Errant. Oh yeah, they have it. I'd really like Corpses of a Lost or Patchwork Banner. Charming Scoundrel is an odd one for this deck. Well, none of my creatures can block. Obviously, if they just have Imodane's Recruiter, we're pretty much dead. As it is, we're taking 6. Now we're taking 12, so that's probably us just dead. We can't kill them next turn. Yeah, and that's not what we wanted to see, really. They can just unearth the ocean. Or just do that. We go first. No 1-drops. We have removal and Corpses of a Lost and Patchwork Banner are powerful cards. So I wouldn't mind a 1-drop. Well, there is a 1-drop. Are we just up against Boros? Well, let's Corpses of the Lost. Hit them for 5. The next turn we can Patchwork Banner and then hold up, go for the throat. Then after that we can Gisa. Oh, you just say when it's a permanent card. Not just a permanent, so therefore tokens don't count. I'm going to play out Case. Should have done it before combat. But then next turn we can Gisa. Buff our creatures more. Well, let's then just Gisa. We can maybe get a go for the throat with Case. Not go for the throat, cut down. I won't block. They might have... Oh, well, maybe they had talent. Well, let's... Why did it tap 2 black and not the Fountain Port? Let's get a cut down. Play out a Cult Conscript. And swing in with Gisa. The wall 2 makes Gisa really hard to deal with, and 2 life. I will pick up the corpses. Fair enough. So we can cut down their horror from the forge. Get a couple of 3/3 zombies with menace. And yeah, we play corpses next turn. Get a... What, it'd be a 4/3, I think. And just smash in for... Yeah, one it would be lethal. And obviously if they played a creature or anything else out, we go for the throat it on our turn. Get in 2 more zombies. We go first with an interesting hand. We'll get down Tinybones turn 1. Obviously we would like some other drops we can play. We can play Tinybones joins up. Cowards. Let's see if they want to block. I doubt they will. I'm surprised they blocked. We need more lands and more playables. Obviously, if we get in with our Tinybones, we can get their Swift Spear. Let's keep the new one. Cause them to discard again. Problem is, if they have like a monstrous rage, I'll just take it. Well, so if they have like a monstrous rage, then they'll be able to buff the Swift Spear. Well, we're only 1 land away from playing Gisa. We've got to make him have it. So he didn't have any more buff spells. So we create 2/2/2s, and Gisa's going to be quite hard for them to deal with. So you don't have any mana left to cast one of their spells. Wow, that's... kind of bad for us. So you're going to hit him for 8. Well, I'm going to attack with Tinybones, and I'm going to leave back 1 zombie. Keep the new one. And we can double block the challenger. Obviously it has menace, so we need to. And then obviously even if Gisa dies, we have more than enough on the backswing. Maybe they've just got enough to buff the Manifold Mouse. Only 3 mana and 3 cards, but they didn't play out the mountain. Do they have the lightning strike? Oh. Oh, I hate playing against that deck. On the play with a pretty good hand. I'll get down the miner first, and then a Tinybones, and we can hold up cut down. Corpses of a Loss is a great draw. If they play a bat, we can cut it down straight away. I expected them to have removal. Oh, let's just carry on smashing in. They're on a 2-turn clock. Well, they're on a 3-turn clock now. Unless we can draw another skeleton. That is not another skeleton. I swear, we've only got 23 lands and this deck draws all of them. They're thinking about something. They just deduce again. This stops them gaining life. As soon as they don't seem to be playing any creatures. So they need a board wipe, essentially. But if they didn't have one last turn, that means they just drew it. Which they could have done, obviously. Tinybones and Gisa's a really good combo. Triggering Gisa the turn she comes down is really, really powerful without needing the mana to do it. So Tinybones and Pickpocket, Tinybones joins up. Just really, really good and smart ways to do it. I played Gisa in Brawl when Outlaws of Thunder Junction was first released. And it's one of my favourite decks. And the key to building it is, say, yeah, cards that commit crimes without additional mana. Tinybones joins up. Lord Skitter is another one, because every turn it produces a rat, and when a rat ETBs, exile a card from an opponent's graveyard. Graveyard Trespass is another one. And like the lands, I think I had a vehicle which can tap to exile a card from an opponent's graveyard. Our opponent obviously has just given up. It's always funny playing against control decks that don't actually do anything apart from control. Because sometimes you don't know if they realise that you can't actually win that way. Sure, and I think a lot of opponents and a lot of decks we're just going to try and annoy our opponent but without having a win con. But if your opponent doesn't scoop, then you don't do anything. They've got 5 cards in hand and they've rage quit. Yeah, it's a bit ridiculous. There we go. Shame that was an end to a really good showcase of what the deck can do.